Good afternoon, Futties. Welcome along to your bi-weekly dose of Foot in Review, powered by Foot Coaching. I am Nathan. I am going to be bringing you alongside our wonderful team, episode number 522. There's been a slight change to the programming. John and Chris, Grandpapa Mike, tried to bring a live show from their wonderful trip to Crete. There's a few technical hiccups, so they did a quick one yesterday. This one, we shall go into a little bit more depth on the content. We've got some quite tasty topics to go into. Before that, though, let me introduce my wonderful co-host today. We'll start with the absolute master of trading, the guru. It's an absolute pleasure to be back on with him, Mr. Shaq Attack. Shaq, how are you?
Hey, good, thank you, Nate. Good, thank you. And it's kind of weird hearing Master Trader coming from you. You're like the king of the hill at this moment point in time, and I look up to you. So yeah, you're selling yourself short there, mate.
No, I'm not. After my little tip with you earlier, I think you lost about 500k because you were one call from me.
Yes.
The less said about that, the better. My other co-host today, fresh off his hollybobs. Hopefully you've dried out a little bit, Chris. Grandpapa Mac, the Foot in Review teddy bear. It's Chris.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for that. Actually, when you said Master Trader, I was getting ready to speak there. Then I realised who I'm on with. These two guys. No, it's been great. Yeah, it was a great trip again. Thanks to Manos and his family for it, and they had a wonderful time. And hopefully we'll go and recap the show. We'll do a recap show, and let the guys know what kind of things we got up to.
Perfect. All the pictures looked amazing. Everyone seemed to have a great time, so it was really good to see. Hopefully for the next one that we can all kind of get along to if we can. Shaq, it may be a little bit hard for you coming from the other side of the world, but plenty of time to potentially get it in motion.
Bit of a stretch, but me and my wife actually looked at it. We considered it and then looked at the duration that we had to fly. I thought, it's just a bit too far for us for now.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's a big commitment, but well done to those that made it. Obviously, it looked amazing, and it's good to see the community kind of coming together. So we have new content since the last. We'll call it a proper show. No disrespect, Chris and John. But since the last show that we did during the week, we've had two Team of the Season teams released. We've had both the Bundesliga and the Saudi teams. Chris, I know you kind of went through it briefly with John yesterday. Have you had time to look a little bit more in depth at these players? Let's start with the Bundesliga team, which dropped on Friday.
I mean, as I said on the show that John and I did, I think it's probably the strongest one we've had, which is surprising because it's probably a league that you would never have thought to put in your team up to now. But some of those players that are in it, we talked to them yesterday. I mean, the start of the show, I don't know if everyone would agree, is probably the Bellingham card. I don't know what you call a player. If it's Hulit Gang's 80, what do you call a player who's 90? Is that Bellingham Gang or something like that?
So not Hulit Plus.
Yeah, it must be Uber Hulit. I think it is.
I think it's not like the Nainggolan Gang, because he was the first card in FIFA that had all 90 stats, so we'll call him Nainggolan Gang.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's a new name for them. That card just looks immense. He's an immense player. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. He's super tall. If I look at 6'1", so he's got those long legs. May be the last year we see him in a Bundesliga TOTS as well, if the rumours are right that he's going to Real Madrid. That's going to be some midfield as well. They're going to be battling to get the place. But no, that card is tremendous. I can vouch for the Nkunku card. Please don't send any hate, but I did pack him. Untradeable, of course. So that's the way I keep up to speed with these guys that are on the pod. So that card is, again, he's 5'5". So for me, that's the one. And then I'll pass it on to you guys. But the Muslera card just looks like a topper as well.
Yeah, Shaq, take it away. Is there any other cards that haven't been mentioned that you either eyeing up or that you think's a standout?
Oh, certainly. One of the standards that I just packed today was a loan version of this card, was the actual right back. And he's incredible. Frimpong, he's absolutely incredible. And he fits multiple positions. For example, I've been playing him in the right wing back position in the Ratty 501. Thank you, Nathan. For me. He's amazing as a right midfielder, which I use him in the Bundesliga Cup, and he is just phenomenal. He's got all the stats in the right place. If he had a little bit more strength, I think he would just be the best right back I've ever played with, but I think so far he is right up there. And I've also used Kimmich. Kimmich is fabulous. if Kimmich could finish, I think he would be really right up there with all the cards that we've spoken about with Jude and even with Goretzka. Kimmich, today I played a couple of games. Kimmich bodied Hullet. He bodied Van Dijk. He actually threw Van Dijk on the floor. So Kimmich is not one. He's not one to shy away from. I think the other cards, Diaby. I got a red Diaby, which I got really lucky with, and he's a colossal. He's just really annoying. He's one of those ratty super subs who can actually make someone pull their hair out. But overall, I think it's a really good team. I'm really looking forward to trying Jude. I've been trying my best to get Jude in, and his price is just going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I really want to pull the trigger soon enough. Yeah, I really want to get Jude. What about you, Nate?
I can vouch. I bought Jude, and to be honest, I was very lucky. I'd sent Dan a few messages on Saturday saying if he goes below 7.5, or I'll get him. And I saw him kind of take a big drop to 7.3, so I was like, right, below 7, I'll get him. And in the end, I waited. I went for a night out for an anniversary party for some friends, came back and he was down to just about 5 mil. So I kind of pulled the trigger at 4.9, and he's lost a bit, but he kind of goes up and down and up and down. So I'm happy with that. And he's insane. He just does everything. So like you said, Kimmich as well. I'm loving Kimmich. I had Goretzka, and I thought for his stats, he actually was a bit underwhelming. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I thought he was a little bit flatter to deceive for what he should be. And yeah, so I've been lucky because I've ended up basically playing with most of these Bundes players anyway. The last one for a shout out is De Ligt. He's a monster. We had a chat earlier, Shaq, about him or Lucio, and it's very tight because De Ligt just has he's a bit like a faster Van Dijk. He's a bit of a man mountain. So very well-rounded team. Very surprised at how well-rounded it is. Do you think, though, it's an engagement thing? Like, with Premier League being slightly underwhelming, but a lot of people will be focusing on Premier League, do we think that this is so juiced very early on because it means people will be engaged and, they'll be playing the weekend league, they'll be more interested in it and stop that kind of turn-off?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a case in point. When the Bundesliga TOTS started, I had no interest in any of the I had no interest in Bundesliga. Period. I've not had a single Bundesliga card this whole cycle. As soon as I saw the team, I thought, this is interesting. And lo and behold, I have 3 players who are in my starting lineup who I think I'll be using for the long term and from now on in. And I'm looking to get Jude in. So yeah, I think it's EA's ploy every single year. They make Prem underwhelming. Everyone thinks that's the best cards available. And then suddenly Bundesliga or La Liga just comes and just steals the show. So it's exactly the same thing as last year and the year before.
And Chris, I'll go to you. Did you learn from that? Did you kind of full send for Prem and then think I should have held back a bit, or have you kind of had changed your method of operation during TOTS so far?
For me, I didn't change my team very much. My team was pretty stacked going into it. The fact that I packed in Nkunku was what made me change it. So then this is what I say to people: go to Crete, because Crete's a very lucky place. I packed in Nkunku in Crete, and then we were sitting having a lovely beer at a beachside bar, and I gave the phone to my wife, and she packed Alfonso Davies as well, and so he's now in the team. And also Rangers won, they beat Celtic as well, and Feyenoord won the championship, and Ike, which is Mario's team, they won. So if you ever think of going anywhere, go to Maris's hotel. It's super lucky. Save your packs for there, and you're going to pack loads of things. I think the De Ligt card, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I'm really looking at that one when you compare them to the Lucius card. But what I was going to say is, I think as well, what they've been is pretty generous with the 81 times 11 Bundes pack. We would never see that during Prem TOTS, would we? And that's a pack.
Did we not see that during Prem? I thought we did see that during Prem.
Did we?
We did. We did, yeah.
But the pack weight seems to be better.
Yes.
Or more juice during Bundes. Like Prem TOTS, I had 150 odd good packs saved, plus all the upgrades that came out and all the content that dropped, and didn't pack very many. Whereas this year we've been Bundes has been ridiculous. Yesterday, I think I made about 2 million coins yesterday. Not so much in profit, but the players that I'd already packed. The players that I'd already bought, I packed tradable. So we had the 3-person store pack. If you listen to this and that's still available, go and do it. 60k coins. But I got Kimmich, which meant I could sell my tradable one. And then I think it was one of the objective ones, I got Alphonso Davies and De Ligt all untradeable, so I could sell my tradable ones. So the pack weights seem to be better for the better players as well. It's not like you're always getting the Kobo or I can't remember the cam that's about 27k. Fulkrug's a striker, but
brand. Yep.
Yeah, so you're getting all these Discord ones, but you're not getting that with Bundes, I don't think. I think we're getting better players, a better variety of players, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, as a pack way. I think, team for team, I think this team is better than Prem TOTS. I think if you put one up against the best team you got in the Prem and the best team here, I think this one just, for me, shades it. And I think it's exciting as well because it's nice to do different cards, because we've probably all used a lot of Prem players this year because the cards have been really strong, but this one's a nice one to use a slightly different team.
Absolutely. If only Haaland was still at Dortmund, this team would be cracked. But instead, he's actually firing goals in real life, unfortunately, for Man City. But hey. So we've had, one little shout out as well. I did the SBC for Marco Reus. Very, very good card. I quite like him every year. He's never incredible, but he's always very well rounded, and it's the same again. He can play striker, he can play cam, he can play left wing. And if you're looking for a fodder dump with somebody that you can utilise, highly recommend Royce. His finishing seems to be cracked with his 5-star left weak foot as well. So another one just to watch out for. So that's Bundesliga's. How about the Saudi tots? Is it just the three big hitters that we're all thinking it's kind of win or bust? We had the guaranteed pack yesterday. If you don't get your Ronaldo, your Talisca, or
Romarinho.
Romarinho, that's the one who was a silver beast a few years ago, a silver star who was unreal. Are we all together and thinking that the rest of the team's very meh, or is there somebody else that we're overlooking and being a little bit unkind to?
No, I don't think we're overlooking anyone in there. I think it's Romarinho, Talisca, and Ronaldo's not going to be packable anyway, so there's no point talking about him. The rest of the two, apart from if you're John, I guess, but Talisca and Romarinho are the only two cards that look, and I think every year we have these two cards that come out, and they're always really highly priced, and I usually end up packing one of them at some point in time in the cycle, not really right now, when I need them, when I want them, when they're new, but I'll pack them at some point and I won't even use them, but usually they're really crack cards. So if you do manage to pack these cards, I mean, both of them. Talisca's got a 5-star skill, move 4-star weak foot. Romarino's got 5-star skill, move 4-star weak foot. Beautiful stats in the right places. Yeah, they're just wonderful cards to actually use.
Ideal. Chris, are you kind of with us on that, or have you seen anybody else, a little diamond in a rough hidden gem type players?
I think the problem is the chem, isn't it? That's the problem. In days gone by, we would have icon blocked them. Someone like Talisca, you could have stuck in Socrates or something like that. Or Pele, if you're lucky enough to get that card. I mean, I like the look of the cards. Again, I'm always talking about people's height, but 6'3" in this game is massive. You put him in like Vieira side, and he's got probably, I would imagine, body type. I'm just going to find it high and lean. Ideal for this game. Absolutely tremendous for this game. So if you've got Brazilian players, the only thing is if you get Vinicius Junior next week or that, then he could be one to do. But I think you've got to look at Talisca and Romarinho, and the Ronaldo is probably just like unicorn droppings, impossible to find.
He has plummeted in price, so he's down about $1 million. He's down to a whole 8.9 mil now. For a Portuguese person in the Saudi league, Portuguese links, like you say, but nothing that you can really say I need to get. If he was if he was any of the big 5 nations, you could be thinking, well, this card is still going to be unreal. I mean, the card will be good to use, don't get me wrong, but 8.9 for that type of card,
with those links,
that's a little bit much with those links. Exactly. That does kind of lead me on to a little bit more of a topic as well I wanted to discuss. Shaq, mainly aimed at you as well, for your market knowledge. We look at the price of Jude, who's about 4 million. Musiala as well, he's down to 2 million. I mean, Goretzka for his stat, I know I've said he doesn't play well, but you look at that player on paper, 900k for that Goretzka. Why are these top cards? I mean, Jude's pretty much his end game already, and we're in May. We've still got 3-4 months of the cycle left. Why is the card price so low?
I think with Goretzka, it's interesting because I would have expected him to be slightly higher than he is because he's just all 90 rated. But I think people are starting to feel a little bit of new card fatigue, because as soon as we all built our Prem teams, we got brand new Bundesliga cards that were really hyped. Now everyone will start to think about the next one, which is La Liga. And these prices, I mean, normally speaking, if this is a regular promo, you'd expect these prices to start trickling their way up. But if you have a brand new set of crack cards coming out on Friday, I don't see these cards staying at the prices they are. I mean, just take it back exactly a week back, and we had cards like Kevin De Bruyne, and we had cards like Varane, who were like scaling up close to the two plus mark, and they're all at least dropped 500k. And I see the exact same thing would happen to Goretzka, would happen to every single card in this promo. And I can even see a card like Jude going down to maybe early fours, late threes at some point in time, and then lo and behold, he'll also be released in the Ultimate TOTS as well. So it is team of the season. If you need a card, just go ahead and buy a card and use a card. It's the end of the cycle anyway. It's the end of needing coins, because once this promo is done, you won't need coins anyway. It's just a 85-10 season. Be Futties, just go out. If you want to buy a card, just go try it. I mean, don't even look at the prices. I mean, Nate, we've been talking about some of the prices of the cards we've bought, and I've lost a heap of coins just trying cards at the past week. Who cares? It's team of the season.
I like that. I mean, Chris, can you get behind that kind of rationale? Yeah. Are you just now kind of thinking, I mean, personally, I'm keeping coins back for something that's rumoured, but we all know it's coming, which we'll kind of get onto in a little bit. But, some certain SBCs come in. I quite like the idea of having coins that I can use fodder and coins. So that's more my mentality. But at the same time, Dan was shouting at me, literally shouting at me, because I was like, I don't want to buy this player because he's going to drop, and I know he's going to drop. And I'm sitting on, like, at that point, it was about 14, 15 million, and I was feared to buy a player at, under a mil because he was going to lose coins. But now it's like, let's change my team around every week because there's so many fun cards. I mean, how are you approaching it?
I mean, this is spring break. Let's be honest. This is what it is at the moment. This is a spring break of FIFA. You can just do what you want, is the honest answer. I think the cards are correct. For someone like yourself who's a Man U fan, if you really wanted past and present Ronaldo, get him in your squad. I don't even think you need to bother with that card on Chem. I think it's that good. That card will not be affected if he's got 1, 2 zeros, whatever you want to call it. So no, definitely, I think just go and enjoy the game. That's why I've changed to Bunda. My team was getting a little bit boring playing the same players all the time. So I think that's what I would do. Just go and enjoy yourself, because sure enough, the 99 rated cards are just around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. So moving on, Chris, I'm not sure whether you've had any time for actually playing the game this week. I know, obviously, you've been away and having the time of your life. Have you managed to load up the game and have any actual matches, or have you just been kind of menu grinding while you're away?
I was basically menu grinding while I was away, and I did a couple of Bundesliga Cups this morning. I'll try and finish that off. I'm 2 out of 2 at the moment, but I think that's because I've got a strong Bundesliga team with the players that I've packed. But no, I don't. I just felt the game this morning was, maybe it was me, but just the clicking to the players changing was a little bit slow. But that might just be me. That might be the beer just coming out my system.
Gonna be in detox season for you. Shaq, how about you? Have you played Rivals, Weekend League? Have you done the objective, even squad battles? What have you been up to?
I've done pretty much. I've done champs, of course. I've done rivals. I've got my 8 wins today, and it's become rivals. I think it's finally I'm only in Division 2, and it's really, as soon as you start playing against someone, you can sense their frustration, because if you're leading and they equalize, and then you score another goal, that's it. They're out. They're just done. Everyone's so fried in rivals, they just get out. So it's good. I've enjoyed rivals. I played the Foot Birthday Cup. I usually start really late, and I've got 5 wins today out of 5, which is, it's very weird. I've never got that many wins so far in one row. So I've got 5 wins in the cup, and so far so good. I think I've done a couple of I've done 1 or 2 squad battle games to get those packs. This is the thing. I see you guys. I saw Chris back Varane in the finishing the cup, and I went and tried to win the cup. I didn't get Varane. I got someone random. I saw Nate trying to get, he got De Ligt and Alphonso Davies and everyone for doing the random squad battle objective. I tried the same thing. I didn't get neither of those. So it's just, I get excited thinking, my turn will come, and it never comes. But it's fun. It kills the time.
It does. I mean, credit to EA, in my opinion. So much to do just now. And it's not just restricted to one game mode. So, we've got people that quite like squad battles, you can just saunter along and without the pressure. I mean, I'm actually quite a fan of rivals, and it's an unpopular opinion, but I don't mind rivals at all. I know I quite like the sweat. The cup, did really well yesterday in the cup, but today I had a horrific time. I don't know why. I don't know whether it was my matchmaking or just because I just wasn't at the races. I think I won 2 and lost 3 today. And 2 of those games, I absolutely battered the guy, but I couldn't score. So not a fan of that mode just because of myself. But no, I just think there's so much to do just now. And that's even excluding Weekend League, which obviously I know people think's possibly the least stressful mode. Not sure I completely agree for that when you're sitting on 13 wins trying to get your 14th, or you're on your 10th win trying to get that elusive 11th win. Like, I definitely feel the pressure on that. But I know what you mean with the open matchmaking. Definitely makes a bit of a difference.
Mm-hmm. I was going to quickly just say, sorry, Nate, jumping there. I think as well as the objective for the Marcus Thuram, it's been a bit of imagination used there by EA. I think this Bundes seems slightly different to the last one, and it was a bit of cookie cutter, wasn't it? It was like cut and paste previous ones. I like this with the Marcus Thuram TOTS objective that they've got in there, and it looks a couple of good cards as well.
Do you like it because it's the mystery objective? You kind of got to either think or Google it or ask somebody in our amazing Discord.
I'm just curious. I don't really know how these guys figure it out. Like, how does one sit down and figure these things out? It's not straightforward. Like, it's really not straightforward. And thank you. I think it was Nepenthes in his community that figured it out. But I'll give you an example. A friend of mine messaged me on, I think it was Saturday morning my time, so it's Friday night your time, said, what do I do with these objectives? And he's a casual Ultimate Team player. And I just said, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. It was impossible. And we tried to crack it and we just couldn't. And then 10 minutes later, I found the Nepenthes video and I sent it to him and said, there you go. That's how you do it. That's it.
No, it's very good. It's different. I like the variety. The only thing I'll say is, you can't combine all the objectives. So 18 squad battles for a card, which realistically next week Spanish TOTS is going to blow out the water anyway. Let's be honest. It's a decent card, but I wouldn't say it's top level card. So it's a grind. And to be honest, I've still got the whole 10 plus a couple left to go, but I might just stop at the one with the massive XP boost. I think there's one that's 2,500. So I think I've got one game left in that to do, because I can't see myself grinding that amount of squad battles when game time's limited.
Exactly. The only one thing I would say in that is there's an objective in that where you get, for one game, you get a centre back, and he's really good. He's probably one of the standout Bundesliga cards I've tried in this cycle, and he's really good. Just for one game, I can't even remember what the objective was. It's a centre back Dutch card that's part of the objective set, and I would certainly try. If you can just do one, just do him and get him.
I think that's the Union Berlin one, isn't it? I think that's that player, isn't it? I think it's like score 2 goals and win the game. I think with Union Berlin players, I think is the
could
one
be, yes, yeah.
That's that's a good shout. Maybe he can replace Lacroix, who is an absolute fraud. Just to let you know.
Yeah, Dan said the same. Dan said the same thing as well. I've been using Lacroix in my 3-back setup, and he's doing a decent job for me. And I was praising him, and Dan said he's a complete fraud. So yeah,
he's very good running in straight lines, but as soon as you try and turn with him, he's just rapid. That's his main thing. But I've not enjoyed him very much, to be honest. But I quite like the big bulky centre half, so maybe that's my issue. But
fair enough.
So we've praised EA, but I mean, this morning especially, EA dropped a bit of a clanger in my eyes. Don't know what you guys think, but the overnight we had the tweet go out from EA: maintenance scheduled 6 till 8. It didn't start on time, I don't think. It definitely didn't finish on time. It's a couple of hours before the end of Weekend League during TOTS. I think that's a clanger, but on the other hand, if they did it tomorrow, a couple of hours before the end of Rivals, and people have been doing all these objectives on Weekend League, which has been extended, are we being really critical at EA there, or is it a lose-lose for them?
It's not. It can't be a lose-lose, because all EA had to do is communicate to us maybe a couple of days in advance, saying, "Hey, we're going to have this," which will make everyone play their games before Weekend League ends. That's it. As simple as that. Whenever they want to do their scheduled maintenance, it's completely fine with the community, as long as they communicate with a little bit of notice, not just a 20-minute notice. Hey, we're shutting the servers. I saw a couple of tweets. There was one guy, I can't remember he was a reasonably popular trader. He was going on 17 wins for his first 20 and all. and he couldn't get back in and play. And how disappointing is that? I remember, I think it was a couple of months ago, I was on Rivals and I had one win to go, and I thought, you know what, I'll just do it tomorrow. And tomorrow came, and it was Rivals was gone. I mean, matchmaking was gone for 8 hours, and I couldn't get my 8 wins. And it's just one of those things where just a little bit of communication goes a long way. That's all. I mean, we're not going to stop them from doing it. It's essential, but yeah.
Surely there's got to be a bit of happy medium, though. There's got to be some time around the globe where they can probably say there's going to be less people on. So maybe even not starting at 5 or 6 in the morning, start it at 3 or 4. Then by the time the majority of the player base is awake or work or on it, there's that possibility. But I'm no expert. I can't get my head around sort of time zones and stuff. So maybe they've got a lot of players playing in certain time zones all through the clock, and it's like a stab in the dark for them.
Well, I was going to suggest, what about Friday morning UK time? Because I don't think Weekend League starts till 8 p.m. UK or 6 p.m. UK, isn't it? They've changed that. Why do that as you need a deadline? That's my problem. So Weekend League deadline, Rivals deadline. Let's be honest, there's probably the two busy ones. Why don't you do it like Saturday morning or Sunday morning when there's nothing really at stake? They're all right. The squad battle guys who love that will be shouting at me saying, what about us? But I think, Friday, Saturday morning is probably the ideal time to do it, because then you're not affecting people. As Shaq says, somebody going for 20-0, it's not his fault you not hit 20-0. It's the fact is that they decided to put that in, and that just seems to me a little bit crazy timing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Unless you go for Thursday straight after rewards.
Yeah,
because that's a horrible time to play. I hate playing that, and I do it every week. But
Yes.
maybe it'll stop us getting all the sweats and the tryhards.
That's a good point there. Really good point. That's the worst time to play the bloody game.
And just one more while I'm being a little bit harsh. I think I've been too positive on EA recently. But what's happening with this compensation pack from the community tots? I'm still raging with my Ito that hasn't come off the bench. I don't even think he's made it to the bench, to be fair. I think he's stuck in the gym on the exercise bike or something trying to keep fit. But what's going on? That's another communication issue, surely.
It's just blank. I have no idea why there's no compensation that's been coming. It's been more than a week. I think I'm lost for words as to why it's taking them this long, and no communication after the time when they said, yes, we will compensate you, and that's it. Nothing ever since, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the guy in me is kind of half thinking they're going to wait for it to be totally irrelevant, and then we'll get somebody like, the Gabriel Jesus that you never see anymore, but he looks a good card that people want, or some of these more souped up players. They might give people more of those chances of packing them. But by that time, we'll be into the funky green cards where everyone's 98, 99s or whatever, and they'll be like, we've compensated you. But again, maybe I'm being a bit too critical. Maybe this is me trying to, be a bit more level-headed after praising them too much, and it doesn't sit right with me.
Nah, credit's due where it's due, but it's also negativity is due when it's due, because this is crazy. Like you've said that there's compensation coming, and there's no communication after that. And we've gone away from Prem, we've gone to Bundesliga. We're coming to the end of Bundesliga, and we still don't know when the compensation is coming, which is crazy.
Absolutely. One tricky thing that EA is going to have on their hands, though. I was thinking about this morning, which is why I kind of wanted to bring it up. We've spoken about Jude being potentially end game. Goretzka stat wise end game. De Ligt is outstanding. Chris, you're raving about Nkunku. How are EA going to now hold on to this power curve? Because I know you've said coins don't matter as much. End game silly season, but realistically, we're midway through May. Even if EA release was at EAFC sort of similar time, which you'd assume they will by the time all the transfers are done, you're going to be talking 4 months of the cycle still left to play. Surely we're not going to be running around with 99 rated cards all the way through for the next 4 months, because that really will surely turn people away from the game. How are they going to manage this?
I think they'll just hold back on certain cards. For example, we'll still see the typical Mbappe will be there. All those kind of cards will still be in packs. But then what we will find is, you see some of the Prem upgrades, they're not as heavy as they should be. Even in Bundesliga, all the cards that have actually been upgraded, even a Goretzka. Yeah, Goretzka is probably a card. He usually gets a special card during the cycle, and that's it. There'll be nothing else. Like, he's a fan favorite, as in he gets a lot of good cards, but nothing that it just sticks in people's mind as a card that they would always go back to. Davies is an example. Last year he got a cracked tots, but then he also got a shapeshift. I can't remember what it was. It was a card where he was a striker, and that was a fabulous card, like an absolutely phenomenal card. So that's the sort of stuff that I think EA will do over the next coming weeks after tots, and then there will be Futties as well. So EA's got a lot of stuff to actually pack in before, and this is there's always going to be the 8510, which will have all these cards in there as well. So I think there's a lot of content yet to come. But I think with cards wise, even if you look at, say, a card like Vinicius, his foot birthday, which is the highest rated card so far, is 92. His team of the season may be 94, 95. They might release a 98 rated Futties, like what they did last year with Salah, Neymar, those kind of cards. So that's still going to come.
Chris, have you got any idea, kind of, do you agree they'll just kind of maybe even re-release the same cards again in a few weeks' time? Or do you think, maybe we could actually see those promos with new players becoming meta? I mean, this is my wish. Players that you either haven't really heard of, the Future Stars, of yesteryear makes me sound really old, but, that whole concept of cards that aren't so meta or aren't so mainstream suddenly becoming, like, desired, usable, even elite. Like, how do you firstly, how do you think they'll do it, and secondly, how would you like them to do it?
Well, I think if you look at it, probably we've got about a month to go to tots, maybe max. That would take us to mid-June. Then also you've got the Women's World Cup in the beginning of July, which is down your way, Shaq, isn't it? In Australia and New Zealand. Right, yeah. And correct. There's talk of DLC coming for that. Now, what I'd like to see is in the Women's World Cup to boost that side of the game is, why don't they do the Women's World Cup, but actually the rewards being foot themselves? So you actually get male players, but actually we would play with the female side of it in the World Cup. That would be a good thing to do. That would then boost the game as well. For the women's game, make us interested in the matches for there. And I think it's going to be massive. I think the tickets have went pretty fast down in Australia. Yep. Unfortunately, Scotland isn't there, so the women's team is just as bad as the men's team. It's nothing changes, does it? As soon as you put that Scotland shirt on.
That's equity. Lovely.
That's it. It's always the same. You know what I mean? So whether you're male or female and a football player for Scotland, you're just as bad as each other. I think what I'd like to see is also if they maybe were to put players in that they think might have big seasons next year, so young players coming in for the new FIFA game coming in, or football game, you want to call it. Why don't they do something like that, like the Future Stars, and then have them like grindable? So, upgraded players, start them off at 90, 92, 93, 94, and then the mega one at the top. That would keep folk engaged with there. So, grindable objectives, I think.
That's a good shout. And, we are starting to see some news coming out of this EAFC. And I think one of the things that was officially released was these kind of dynamic upgradable players. Is there the potential that FIFA look at that and go, right, we're bringing that in? Like, can you see them starting that early to trial it and see the reception? Or will EA be saying, right, this FIFA's FIFA, we'll keep that separate, and then we'll launch EAFC with these new, like, amazing features? Or do you think there can kind of be a go-between, like an amalgamation of the two?
I think there'll be definitely a go-between, because they will have some of the key features that made Ultimate Team popular in the first place. But I'm sure they will try to bring up one or two of. The problem with EA is it could be a complete gimmick, which they've done in the past. They've introduced so many things in the past. Like, for example, this year the big thing was moments. How many times have you actually tried moments? I've done it maybe 5 times to do some objectives, and that's pretty much it. That's all I've gone to the moment still for. So it really depends with the upgrades. If they've done it, if they can do it right, it'll be great. But I don't really know what's in store. But yeah, as long as it's not a gimmick, I'm all in for it. But yeah, I don't have too much of faith with regards to new features from EA.
I know. We can hope for this. To be fair, the game this year, I think it's been one of the most enjoyable ones so far. So if they see it through how it is, I'm not too disappointed. Some of the compensation and communications I would like to see. I'm still waiting on my Hero Pack compensation from October. I don't think that'll be coming now. But to be fair, no, like I say, credit to them. And it's been a good game so far. And hopefully the next 4 months, I don't want to see 99 rated cards now, really, unless they truly, truly deserve it. I mean, to be fair, even like Haaland, I keep saying to him because his card's just unreal, even though I'm a United fan. But if he came out tomorrow with a 99 rated card, I think he's possibly the only player that I would be like, I can't grudge him for that, because personal opinion, I think he's head and shoulders above anybody else on the planet just now. I think he's just a machine. But I don't want to see random players like they'll give Messi a 99, they'll give Neymar 98, 99. I know Messi won the World Cup. He wasn't the star man. He's definitely not the star man for PSG anymore. Like, I don't want these players that just get them because they're pack sales. I'd love to see juiced on random players. And just one more biasm while I'm there. I want a Garnacho special card because that boy is unbelievable. There was a Future Stars. They missed the trick with him there. I'm screaming for a Garnacho card because I just think he's unreal. But again, sorry if you're not Man United fans listening to this, but I'm keeping it out there because that's my demand.
Completely with you. Completely with you there. You're not waiting for a Garnacho card, yeah.
He would be so good.
But I mean, if you look at last year as well, like I'll give another random example. Salah last year, his team of the season card was pretty well hyped, blah blah blah. But he still had a 4-star week, if I'm not mistaken, and he wasn't really all that. And then fast forward a couple of months, we had the 98 rated or 99 rated Salah with 5-star week for 5-star skill moves, which is a completely cracked card. So that's the sort of stuff I will get. All these cards that are 97, 98 that'll have something. Even Jude, for example, he's got 5-star, 4-star. What's to say we don't get a 5-star, 5-star Jude? And that's something that people hype people up. So they leave a little bit of room with every single card. I don't think there's a single card that's out in FIFA right now, or even at the end of TOTS, that'll be a complete package card. There will be something that they can still upgrade. So that's what I feel.
Yeah, no, that could well be. It could well be the way that they go, and that would be very exciting. Not for the bank balance when you've got 4 million tradable one, but again, you've told me that coins won't mean anything, so it's fine.
Nah, they won't.
Dear. Well, we have had a question sent in from our wonderful host, Dan. Obviously, he does the trading show with you, Shaq. I know it's been a couple of weeks off through scheduling. Hopefully, you guys can get that back if we can. Obviously, the market is mental just now, so good luck to you guys trying to put that together. But what he has asked is, do we think that EA have struggled to make the most out of the licenses for the UEFA competitions? So obviously they've got the sort of the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League. We've seen the standard road to the knockouts and road to the finals, but that's pretty much it. Showdowns have been limited. Any sort of flash SBCs for them have been limited. They've got the exclusive license, which they fought quite hard from Konami, I believe. Was it Konami that do PES? Yep. They've taken it off PES anyway, so they obviously wanted it. Have they misused it, or have they just taken this license to take a selling point away from PES, who people did have whispers would be a bit of a challenger?
That's pretty much it. You hit the nail on there. It's just they had the clout to go ahead and do that and just buy something off. It's like you, Nate, just buying R9 and then buying Rashford because you can. That's exactly it. And Haaland, there you go. That's exactly it. EA can do that. EA can just go buy UEFA. They can go buy the FIFA World Cup rights and don't get me started on how World Cup was really good content for the time, but it was, if you think about it, if you scale it back, it was slightly, they did hold back. There was stuff they could do on a day-to-day basis and keep us engaged because we were all so stuck into the World Cup, the whole theme of it. We just had a couple of cards here and there, the same Mbappe's, the same Theo Hernandez's, and that's it. There was no day-to-day content. If you go back 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 2-3 World Cups, we used to have a daily, a new game, new objective every day to recreate a match that actually happened in real life, and then you could play it in game in Ultimate Team as well, and you'd get some. There was so many things that could have been done. So it's just, I think at this point in time, EA is just buying those kind of things just for clout, just to hold on to things so other people can't get a USB.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, have you got any views on that at all? It's definitely very different compared to what we may have expected or what we've had in the past.
I think they watered it down now. I think the first time they brought the cards out, and I could be wrong here, it was road to the final, wasn't it? So you got the cards in the group stages, and those cards made it all the way to the final. The minute they made it road to the knockout, that was it. The promo was a bust, because you're packing these cards, and all you got was the upgrades into the knockout stages. And I think, if I remember right, there was the Renato Sanchez card. I'm sure he dropped in price until he got through the knockout stages at the start of the turn of the year, don't they? That, I think they need to, if they're going to keep it, they need to do that so that they make those cards relevant, because otherwise it's a waste. The road to the knockout, those cards are worthless in my opinion. And we've had some great games. You've had the Milan derby in the semi-final. You've had the rise of Napoli. Even in the Europa League, you've got some good teams there, and even in the conference, there's a chance to bring in players from clubs, as you say. And Nathan, earlier on there, this is actually the one stars of the future. They make a name in the Europa League or the conference, and they actually make those the transfers to the big club. Yeah, it definitely has been mismanaged, and it's been watered down. Started off great, and like everything EA does, as soon as they bring a great promo out, and the next year I guarantee it's watered down somewhere along the line.
We did have an answer in our Discord for it, which actually is a good point from Captain Saveman. He reckons performance-based promos means they may have to exclude traditional meta players and therefore be less popular. So, I mean, that is a good point. I don't think they have to exclude meta players, but I think if they include them, it'll obviously hamper the standalone promos as well. And you don't want to be given, let's look at the semi-final tonight, Real Madrid, Man City. Do you want to give, a Militao or Vinicius, or even a Rodrigo, a road to the final card from then? These are meta players that start off ahead of what they are at the curve and keep going, because those cards could become cracked very early on. If you give Vinicius an upgradable card, like, you're not going to spend coins or points on replacing that left wing, potentially from when you get him in, say, September, October, all the way through to May, June. Yeah.
You could bring in a Camavinga, though, couldn't you, as well, or a Gundogan cards as well. Those guys have had particularly good seasons. Or a Giroud card, a pacey Giroud card, which would be really nice. Tall, good-looking, handsome Frenchman that he is as well. You know what I mean? Steal your girlfriend, that guy, easy. And there's those sort of cards, or Napoli. There's been guys in the midfield in Napoli who have had a great season. There's cards there they could bring in. The only reason these cards are popular meta cards is because they're good in game. So EA needs to look at why are these cards so good in game, and why are the cards who are the less meta players, why don't we bring them more forward? Then you're going to get a real mixture of players. There's a reason why Mbappe's good in the game, because he's got animations, etc., and he just fits the game really well. But you could easily do a Camavinga card, couldn't you? And make him meta.
Camavinga would be perfect. Look at his body type, his size, his stats. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's getting a team of the season card. He's been playing left back a lot, so I wonder whether he'll be a left back. But if he's left backs with the alternative position of CM, CDM, that card's going to be unreal. Yeah. Like these players could be very good, but you're right, because Camavinga isn't called Vieira, do people want him as much? But it could go either way. I think that could be exciting. It could be done really well. Like you say, started off great. I mean, even some of the cards we had now, I remember that Wan-Bissaka card at the start of the cycle, the road to the knockouts. He was unreal. He dropped in price when United kind of were going out, but these type of cards are so good to use and well above the curve as well at the point.
Yeah,
exactly.
So hopefully EA do something, like you say, with the Women's World Cup coming up. Hopefully there'll be some fun off-season type promos and stuff coming, which they will, but hopefully it doesn't peak too soon.
Yeah.
So the next couple of things are potentially rumours and opinions. I know we don't always deal in them, but we're getting into a silly season, so forgive us, John. But we knew this was coming at some point. It looks like we are having the return of a daily icon SBC. We had that already in a cycle, did we not? But was it FUT birthday potentially? We had regular ones, either every day or every second day, where we had Gattuso and Keane, and I'm sure we had Torres and Drogba, and all them drop sort of all very close together. I'll not name the players that are meant to be coming, because I know again we don't do total rumours, but this looks more than a rumour. How are your thoughts and your feelings on daily icon SBCs? Shaq, we'll start with you.
Originally, when I saw the rumor originally with the daily icon SBCs, the first thing that my mind went to was a Xavi, was like a Puyol, because it's a La Liga themed SBC. So I thought Xavi, Puyol. I thought the key marquee would have been maybe a prime Butragueño. That was what I was thinking. But some of the rumors that have surfaced right now have got me quite excited. Really, it could be that could be the rumor that we've seen right now is probably the best of the bunch, and the rest of them could be complete and utter garbage. Who knows? It's yet to find out, but we've got to see. But if it stays at that level, at that kind of power curve, where the kind of card that we're talking about, if it stays at that level, I think we're in for a complete treat for La Liga.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know. Have you seen any of these potential leaks?
I'm just looking now. Actually, I didn't know about it. Yeah, I mean, these leaks look tremendous. I mean, I would love to rock a full Icon team, but you were guilty, weren't you, Nath, of rocking a full Icon team?
I think I was, apart from one player. I think I had like one actual player at the time.
I did a full Icon team in objectives for that friendly. I think in the Premier League TOTS or Eredivisie TOTS, you could just use any random one league, and I did an Icon team. It was fun. It was good fun.
It was so fun. You got so much hate for doing it, and to be honest, I reveled in it. I kept splashing it all over me, all this hate and salt. I was bathing in it. But I mean, you know, when they say it's La Liga TOTS, La Liga icons, you do think of some of the ones that have really, really impacted La Liga. There's some absolute cracked ones. I mean, I've not seen any. I've only seen one named player who is one that I've been thinking about buying myself. So I'm very happy for that. But you know, the top players that have played there, you're talking, and again, I'm not saying these are confirmed to come or leaked to come, but you're talking, you know, R9, Zidane. Like you say, Butcher's phenomenal in the game. I think he's highly underrated. You've got Ronaldinho, Xavi. You've got some very, very good players, and it'll be interesting to see. I know one leak says it's just the Prime version, but it'll be interesting to see if they do like a TOTS version, because we've had FUT birthday icons, we've had World Cup icons. I wonder whether we may be surprised and we might actually end up with a special TOTS one. And if we do, like Chris, I don't know what you think. Would you complete these, or would you think the price is going to be wild?
The price is going to be wild, but certainly if you're getting a Ronaldinho or Ronaldo card, then I think you'd want to do it just for the fact to flex when you rock him in your team. That's the reason I'd want him in my team, just to flex away while I take a beating from somebody rocking a gold team. But I still would have the pleasure of flexing it for at least a couple of minutes anyway. Yeah, no, you'd have to. You as long as a long enough date, 90 days, which is the normal do. If you get 3 months to complete that card, you could grind away. I suppose you get a Cruyff, who I don't like in game. Art and I were talking about him, but he's a Barcelona legend, isn't he, as well? Raul. I think, but I'd like to see a special Team of the Year version icon, because they've done more than the normal natural 4, haven't they, this time? And another thing, as well as the heroes as well, they could be due an upgrade soon, I think, as well. So you never know, we might see something like that.
The FUT fantasy heroes were slightly underwhelming, I think. You don't really see many of the fantasy ones. You still see a few World Cup ones, but now you're in TOTS. Like, unless you've got the absolute pinnacle, a lot of these are kind of, they're in the past now. They're not really worth it anymore. I think you're right there, but it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited. I am an absolute sucker for an SBC. I'm a sucker for an icon. We'll get 90 days, but I'll end up splashing all my coins on just getting them done in about 90 seconds rather than 90 days. So let's hope that they're fun. It's a good choice, and to be honest, I don't want to see every single top card in just now, because again, we're talking about protecting the curve a little bit and prolonging the game. I think if you have Prime or a special version of R9, Zidane, Ronaldinho, Cruyff, I think you get that. The game, for me, may go a little bit stale because everyone's just getting these ridiculous cards.
I wouldn't think it'll be so many of them. It'll just be a couple with dashed in. For example, I'll give you a really unique one that might just pop up as Team of the Year, David Beckham. That could be an SBC. He's La Liga.
He was one be worth completing because he is unreal. He's different.
Yeah, and it's going to be he'll be priced at 2 million plus, and it'll be a lot of people thinking, do I really want to spend that much on a David Beckham SPC? But the people that actually do it will realize how special it is, and those kind of things would be interesting. Rather than, I would much rather have a Beckham as opposed to having a Xavi or a card that's not as usable.
Yeah, I mean, guaranteed Casillas will get one because we haven't had many goalkeepers. So that's that's mine. Don't hold it to me, listeners, but I do think that we'll get a Casillas because goalkeeper SBCs. I know we've just had Alisson. But they have been quite short this year, so I could well see that coming. Finally, just to wrap things up a little bit, sort of lighthearted again, your views. Is there anyone that you're dying to see, or anyone that you think's a pretty much a cert without looking at the leaks for La Liga Team of the Season? Chris, who's the standout one in your head that you could, you could see yourself cartwheeling around Edinburgh or Glasgow with, or streaking through the airport for?
I've just had a quick look at the players. So, for the Petici, the top goal scorer in La Liga, you're looking at Lewandowski's 4 ahead of Karim Benzema. I know it's voted for by the community, so he may not get in, but he might get a moments card. He certainly had a wonderful season. But when you look at the player for assists and goals, it's Lewandowski at the top with 27, but then Griezmann 25, he's got goals and assists for the season. That will be a great card, especially if they do something with his weak foot. I know before, I think you can have a problem with his weak foot, but the Griezmann card, again, he'll be up there with Nkunku, I think, if you get a Griezmann.
His team of the tournament, the fantasy, the World Cup upgradable ones. He went to 5-star, and he was unreal. The only thing let him down was his medium work rates, but that card, you still see it in teams now. One of a very few of that promo, that and the Nkunku are the two that you kind of see a lot. But that card, you're right, it could be phenomenal.
5-star Griezmann, would be amazing. With pace.
I think they're going to make that a super juice card. That one. I mean, you'd like to see. I know. Or we're going to get Vinicius Junior. I mean, let's be honest. He's on fire at the moment. He's playing well. They play tonight against Man City. They've struggled in the league, Real Madrid, so it could be a lot of Barcelona players. Maybe Jordi Alba will get in, and then of course we our good friend Biscuits leaving Barcelona this year. I think we'll get a moments card for him, isn't he? This is the last season that he's got in La Liga as well. So that's probably the cards we might see coming in.
Yeah, I think I may be incorrect, but I don't think Alba's played as much. I think it's the young lad Baldi they've had playing at fullback. Who's been. They've got a couple of young. I think it's Baldi and I think it's a Traore that have been unreal for them at fullbacks. Which might be quite nice if one of those get it, because it's a different type of card as well. We've already had Alba. I think we had one around the same time as the World Cup Heroes. There was a special Alba came out. The Centurions one, who was highly priced but wasn't phenomenal. Shaq, have you got either your eyes on hopefully anyone coming to pick up, or is it just somebody that you'd have a wee smile for seeing?
Oh, look, I think Vinicius Junior is one that I'll be really looking out for. But apart from that, I think in the midfield, I think Valverde is a card that I think will be a really crack card. And if he might be an all-90 card as well. And I think he might actually be an exceptional pick. Along with that, I think if Frankie de Jong gets in, he's had a reasonable season, not a great season, but good enough season. There's also Pedri or Gavi. One of them can also get in. So Pedri might get in, and Pedri's had a pretty good season as well. So, yeah, they'll be fun cards. I think there'll be really some really good cards to look out for, and that's what I mean. I think right now we're also focused on Bundesliga, and as soon as these TOTS La Liga cards hit, we'll all be like in La Liga land this exact same time next week. We'll all be talking about La Liga players and how awesome they are.
Absolutely. I mean, that is one of my plays. Is I think once I've got my 10 wins in the cup, I probably will sell the majority of my tradable Bundes players, although I'm going to keep Jude, because I think Jude, and you've now made me think about David Beckham, but even a Valverde and Jude could be like unreal as well. So Vinicius I think will be fun. He's always very good. Now that the gameplay's changed more towards these explosive type players as well, I think that could be a real looker. Camavinga we've spoken about already, but I think he could be the perfect player. And I'm hoping that Ter Stegen gets in as well, because he has had a ridiculous season. I think they've conceded. I think if they concede double what they've conceded this season, they'll still break the record for the fewest goals conceded. So you'd think it would be quite a strong Barca defense plus goalkeeper, because their season has just been stupidly good, especially defensively. So it's exciting. I love this time. We haven't seen many leaks for it. I think there's only been one who pretty much everybody knew would be getting in because he's been unreal. We got not even a compensation, the guaranteed Rodrigo pack from last week as well. He's one for the right wing if you've got him. I know it was kind of him or Alexis Sanchez that probably 99% of people got. I've got Rodrigo, so I've packed a tradable Diaby. So once I've done the cup, I think Diaby will be going potentially, or at least going to the bench, because I think Rodrigo's time to shine coming up. So hopefully everyone out there's kind of thought that far ahead. I know we've got Alexis would go for the Ligue 1, but by that point there'll be somebody else very, very tasty, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
So with that, I just want to say thank you guys. It's not often that I get to sit in the hosting chair. You guys have been phenomenal as always. It's been good fun. I think on Friday it will be the return of John and Ingvi, if I'm not mistaken. They'll be recapping, obviously, the drop for La Liga. Hopefully there'll be a few more tasty SBCs and objectives. Hopefully we'll have our compensation packs by then. I wouldn't count on it, though. But yeah, hope everyone has an amazing few days in FIFA. Enjoy, see if EA can get away without doing any more gaffes. And there's only one thing left to do, Shaq.
Drop it.
Chris.
Drop it.
And we shall drop it.
Drop it.
F-U.
T.
F-U.
T.
F-F-F-U.
T.
F-U. T.
T.
T.